Hollywood roles aren't just cast, they're taken. Sometimes with charm, sometimes with money, and sometimes with a whisper campaign so quiet, even the studio pretends it didn't happen. But this time, someone talked, someone finally broke. Because Jessica Chastain had spent nearly 6 months quietly preparing for her next Netflix thriller, a cold-blooded, slow-burn story called Glass Harvest. It was a cerebral role, complex, wounded, dangerous beneath the surface, the kind of part you don't just play, you dissolve into. Her name had been on the shortlists for weeks. She'd already had dinner with the director in West Hollywood, where they talked tone and silence, grief and vengeance. Mood boards had been built around her look. The costume designer had flown in from Paris, sketching specifically for her. Frame. Locations were scouted with her silhouette in mind. She was in, until one meeting changed everything. It wasn't loud. It didn't come with a headline, but somewhere between a brunch in Brentwood and a closed-door executive session in Culver City, Glass Harvest stopped being Jessica's project. And suddenly, Blake Lively, the actress who had never been mentioned in the same breath as this role, walked in like it had always been hers. No audition, no press leak, just there. And when people asked why, that's when the weird silence started. If this sounds familiar, it should. First, it was Emma Stone. Then Anne Hathaway, Meghan Markle, and now Jessica Chastain. One by one, names quietly disappeared from passion projects, and in their place, the same name again and again, Blake Lively. But this wasn't just another Hollywood recast. This was what happens when you get in the way of a comeback plan. A power couple pitch, and a deal that had already been made behind the curtain, because behind Blake was Ryan Reynolds. And behind Ryan, a secret pitch deck, not to Netflix, but to the people who influence Netflix. And this time, someone recorded it. Word is, Jessica was locked in until someone with more weight rewrote the script. Literally. And just a reminder, every deleted tweet, fake statement, and PR cover-up takes hours to piece together. So, if you're watching this, hit that join button. Because we're going to keep exposing what they won't. Jessica wasn't angry. Not yet. She assumed it was a mistake. Casting confusion, maybe. Maybe Blake was attached to something else. Maybe someone got wires crossed. Then her phone rang. A producer she'd worked with on a tiny Sundance film years ago. Not someone she kept in touch with. His voice was quiet, shaky, like he wasn't supposed to be calling. Hey, I wasn't going to say anything, but you need to know what's going on. Jessica stepped outside. It was raining in Los Angeles. A rare, surreal kind of rain, the kind that makes palm trees look sad, the kind that feels like an omen. They're rewriting Glass Harvest, he said. Blake's not just attached, she's the lead. She came in with a new pitch deck, and your name was crossed out. Jessica didn't speak. There's more, he added. Ryan pitched it with her. They've been shopping a power couple thriller package under the radar. She asked if this was confirmed. He didn't answer, just forwarded a file, not an official doc, just a screenshot from an internal Slack thread. One line highlighted, Ryan plus Blake package feels like the cleaner sell. Jess is too prestige, too serious. She stared at it, not because it shocked her, but because she knew this story. She'd heard it before. She'd lived it before. But this time, they didn't even bother to hide the handwriting. Jessica was too serious for a thriller. Meanwhile, Blake was serving fashion show energy in every frame. Make it make sense. She didn't spiral. Not immediately. She kept it. Quiet. Until Cannes, Jessica was supposed to attend a panel for Glass Harvest. A major press moment. But she'd pulled out last minute due to scheduling conflicts. Or so the studio said. 3 days later, Blake showed up. Not for the film, not for any promotion, just showed up. In a look so specific, it felt weaponized. Same slicked red hair, same crimson lip, same minimalist sculpted gown that Jessica had worn to the exact same Cannes event in 2022. The internet noticed fast. This is wild. Blake Lively showing up in Jessica Chastain's old Cannes look like it's a rental? What are we doing here? But that wasn't the worst part. 3 days later, Blake appeared on a podcast and dropped a line that stopped. Fans cold. I think what makes a performance authentic is when you're not chasing the moment, you're just letting it find you. a nearly identical phrase to what Jessica had said back in 2021 in a Vanity Fair behind-the-scenes reel. For the eyes of Tammy Faye, fans remembered, and they were furious. Copycat or coincidence? Blake Lively just casually plagiarizing Jessica Chastain? This is giving single white female. Jessica didn't comment. She didn't have to, because the internet did it for her. What people didn't know was that Jessica had already filmed her first round of promo. Junkets, late-night segments, variety photo shoots. It was already locked, until it wasn't. Right after Blake's can stunt, something shifted. Clips scheduled to drop on Netflix's YouTube channel? Pulled. Her Tonight Show appearance? Postponed. The variety spread? Scrapped with a vague stylistic redundancy excuse. And the final straw? A beautifully shot promo interview she'd done with her co-star, a beloved indie darling. Never aired. Jessica had seen the edit. It was finished. Ready. Now, everyone acted like it didn't exist until someone leaked it. Not the footage, just a Slack message. Kill the Chastain rollout for now. Ryan's team flagged a confusion concern with the Lively campaign. Jessica saw it. Quietly. She didn't say anything publicly. But her publicist did one thing. They liked a tweet. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Jessica Chastain didn't get where she is by being someone's placeholder. She built the damn lane. And that's when the theory thread started, and once the thread begins in Hollywood, it never ends. In a look so specific, it didn't feel accidental. It felt strategic. Same sleek crimson gown Jessica had worn 2 years earlier at the exact same Cannes event, same deep part in the hair, same razor-clean red lip, same jewelry even, if you knew what to look for. It wasn't cosplay. It was possession, and the side-by-side photos went viral within hours. Blake Lively showing up in Jessica Chastain's old can looked like It's a Rental is actually insane. Hollywood's single white female energy. This is not homage. This is erasure. Jessica watched it unfold in real time. The photo tags, the speculation, the conspiracy threads. Still, she said nothing, because Jessica Chastain isn't messy. She plays the long game, but then came the podcast. Just 3 days later, Blake Lively appeared on a buzzy interview show hosted by a pop culture influencer known for softball questions and glossy lighting. Midway through the conversation, Blake said this: I think what makes a performance authentic is when you're not chasing the moment, you're just letting it find you. And the internet lost its mind, because that line wasn't hers. Jessica had said it, word for word, in a Vanity Fair featurette back in 2021 while promoting The Eyes of Tammy Faye, fans remembered. And receipts were posted. Fast. This is plagiarism. Did she just quote Jessica like it was her own? Stealing her role and her words? Nah. Still, Jessica stayed silent, but people around her didn't. Her stylist reposted the 2021 video. A former co-star liked a thread, comparing their press quotes. And her publicist, the one who'd been in the business for 20-plus years, posted a cryptic Instagram story. A single word. Black background. White serif font. Placeholder. It didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, something was shifting. Jessica's Glass Harvest promo rollout, which had already been filmed and scheduled, began disappearing. First, the Netflix YouTube channel delayed her interview series. Then the clips were quietly pulled from the back end. Her scheduled Tonight Show appearance was suddenly postponed. The variety cover she'd shot in early April, killed with a vague reason about stylistic overlap. Even a gorgeous A24-style promo video she'd filmed with her co-star, a critically beloved indie darling, never aired. Jessica had seen the final cut. She'd approved the press notes. Now, everyone was pretending it didn't exist until someone leaked a Slack message, not a long thread. Not even a file, just one screen grab. Kill the Chastain rollout for now. Ryan's team flagged a confusion concern with the Lively campaign. That was it. Simple, surgical, and devastating. Jessica saw the screenshot. She didn't say a word. But quietly, late that night, her publicist liked a tweet. Jessica Chastain didn't build her career to be erased by a couple's comeback campaign. She's not to anything, she's the thing. And that's when the theory thread started. Was this about image? Demographics? Streamer politics? Was Glass Harvest retooled not because Jessica didn't fit, but because Blake and Ryan needed a win? Reddit got to work. Old interviews were resurfaced, deleted tweets were archived, wardrobe coincidences were dissected frame by frame, and then a DM leaked. It wasn't supposed to, but it did. An anonymous assistant from someone's PR team sent a message to a gossip blog. "You didn't hear this from me, but Blake and Ryan are trying to build a prestige lane. This wasn't just about the role, it's a campaign. They want to be the next Nicole and Keith. The studio wants more approachable glamour. Blake tested better in foreign markets." Approachable glamour. Jessica read the words, smiled, and got to work. Because here's the thing no one tells you about Jessica Chastain. She doesn't need the spotlight. She owns the shadows. And when Hollywood tries to ghost her, she builds her own damn stage. See, me too. Question isn't what happened to Glass Harvest. The question is, what is Jessica going to do next? Because if history tells us anything, it's this. You can take the role. You can take the quote. You can even take the red dress. But you can't. Take the last word, not from her. Hollywood roles aren't just cast. They're taken, sometimes with charm, sometimes with money, and sometimes with a whisper campaign so quiet even the studio pretends it didn't happen. But this time, someone talked. Someone finally broke. Jessica. Chastain had spent nearly 6 months preparing for her next Netflix thriller, a cold-blooded, slow-burn story called Glass Harvest. Her name was already on the shortlist. She'd had multiple meetings with the director. The production designer was pulling swatches based on her palette, and the costume sketches were literally drawn to her frame. They built the aesthetic around her, down to the lighting references and camera tests, until one meeting changed everything. Because Blake Lively, an actress who was never part of the early talks, who hadn't even circled the genre, suddenly walked in like she'd always belonged. No audition, no announcement, no paper trail, just there. And when people asked why, that's when the weird silence started. If this sounds familiar, it should. It's not the first time this playbook's been used. First, it was Emma Stone. Then Anne Hathaway, then Meghan Markle, now Jessica Chastain. Same moves, same vanishing ink contracts, same PR spin. What happened next wasn't just a typical Hollywood recast. It was what happens when you get in the way of Blake Lively's comeback plan. And Ryan Reynolds' secret pitch deck. This time, someone recorded it. Because Jessica, she was locked in. Until someone with more influence rewrote the script. Literally, the character she helped build, softened, stylized, rebranded, and just a reminder, every deleted tweet, fake statement, and polished PR cover-up takes hours to unwind. But people are finally starting to talk. And we're here to track every step. Jessica wasn't angry. Not yet. She thought it was a mistake. Maybe casting got confused. Maybe Blake was attached to another project. Maybe Netflix changed direction. But then her phone rang. It was a producer she hadn't spoken to in years. Someone she'd worked with on a small indie before Oscar buzz was part of the equation. His voice was nervous, his tone almost apologetic. "I wasn't going to say anything, but you need to know what's happening." Jessica stepped outside. It was raining in LA. Rare, surreal, like even the sky wanted to warn her. "They're rewriting Glass Harvest, Jess. Blake's not just attached. She's the lead now. She came in with a revised pitch deck. Your name was literally crossed out." Jessica didn't say a word, and then he added, "Ryan pitched it with her. They're shopping it as a power couple thriller package. It's already in motion." She asked if it was confirmed. He hesitated, then sent a screenshot. Not an official doc, just a Slack message. One line was highlighted. "Ryan plus Blake package feels like the cleaner sell. Jess is too prestige, too serious." She stared at it, not because it shocked her, but because she already knew where it was heading. They didn't want serious. They didn't want depth. They wanted fashion-forward, meme-ready cinema with built-in red carpet clout. Jessica tried to keep it quiet. No panic, no spiraling. But then came Cannes. Jessica was supposed to attend. She pulled out last minute. Scheduling conflict, nothing suspicious, until Blake showed up, not for the film, not even for promotion, just there, wearing the exact look Jessica had worn to Cannes in 2022, same hair, same crimson lip, same minimalist couture gown. The side-by-side went viral in hours. Sorry, but this is wild. Blake Lively showing up in Jessica Chastain's old Cannes look like it's a rental? What are we doing here? And that wasn't even the worst part. 3 days later, Blake appeared on a podcast. She said, "I think what makes a performance authentic is when you're not chasing the moment. You're just letting it find you." It was a quote Jessica had used, word for word, during her Eyes of Tammy Faye press run in 2021. It wasn't just a phrase, it was her phrasing, her process, her legacy, fans remembered. And they were furious. Copycat or coincidence, fans call out Blake Lively for reusing Chastain's quote. Jessica didn't say anything publicly. She didn't have to. The internet did it for her, but that's when the campaign truly started to unravel. Jessica's promotional material, already filmed, started vanishing. Clips scheduled to drop on Netflix's YouTube channel. Under review, her segment on The Tonight Show, postponed. A variety photo shoot, scrapped, with a vague note about stylistic redundancy. The real kicker, a joint promo interview with her indie darling co-star, gone. It was shot, edited, ready. Jessica had seen the final cut, and then it disappeared like it never happened. Until someone leaked a Slack screenshot. Kill the Chastain rollout for now. Ryan's team flagged a confusion concern with the Lively campaign. Jessica saw it. Still no public comment. But her publicist made one move. They like to tweet. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Jessica Chastain didn't get where she is by being someone's placeholder. She built the lane. And that's when the theory thread dropped, about the rewrites, the deleted footage, the exec who mysteriously left the project, and a new working title for an unnamed thriller quietly filming in Montreal, with no official lead actress listed. Some say Jessica walked away. Others say she was forced out. But the real ones know she's playing the long game, because when Glass Harvest drops next year with Blake's face on the poster, Jessica Chastain might just be premiering a real film, one she wrote herself. And when that happens, let's just say, Blake won't be the only one walking red carpets.